When I opened my eyes again, I was standing outside my car, or what was left of it. The rain was still falling, but I no longer felt it.
The testimonies featured on this channel are presented as received, reflecting the personal experience and perspectives of the individuals who have generously shared them with us. We encourage our viewers to approach these testimonies with compassion and understanding, as these are personal testimonies of people involved. We also encourage you to always refer to the Holy Bible and the teachings of Jesus Christ and His apostles for guidance. You can consider subscribing to the channel to support our ministry. Like, share, and comment with the country you are watching from. Watch to the end, because what you are about to hear will challenge your belief.
The story you are about to hear is one that shakes the bones, squeezes the heart, and forces the mind to question the thin veil between life and whatever lies beyond. It is the testimony of an Iranian woman named Zainab, an ordinary woman by all outward appearance, yet touched by an extraordinary and terrifying experience. For years, Zainab lived a quiet life in Qom, raised in a deeply religious family. Her older brother, Rahman, was not only respected, but admired across their community. He was the kind of man mothers pointed toward when advising their sons on how to walk righteously. A preacher, a teacher, a man who recited the Quran with a voice that felt like incense rising in the stillness of dawn. When he spoke from the pulpit, the room fell silent. When he taught, people listened. When he prayed, people felt small. To Zainab, he was more than a brother. He was the symbol of everything holy in their home. She herself had never reached his level of devotion, though she tried. His shadow was long, and she lived inside it. But life went on. Work, routines, family visits, the constant hum of Iranian streets, and the unseen threads that tied together an ordinary life, until the night when all of that changed forever. It started with a road, a storm, and a crash. That night rewired her destiny. She died, not for seconds, not for minutes. Zainab was gone long enough to see what no living eyes were meant to witness, and long enough to remember it with a clarity that haunted her waking moments. What she saw tore apart everything she believed about righteousness, salvation, and the man she had adored her whole life. She returned with trembling lips, a beating heart, and a story nobody was prepared to hear, least of all herself. Her brother Rahman, her guide, her pillar, the man she thought closest to heaven, was somewhere she never imagined, somewhere burning, somewhere screaming, somewhere begging. And what he told her there, it was a message that changed the course of her life forever. Before Zainab shares the first hour of her 3-hour testimony, brace yourself. Her voice is calm, but her words carry fire. Her story twists, turns, and sinks its claws into every fear you've tried to ignore at night. Now, let's hear from Zainab.
My name is Zainab, and I died on a Thursday night. People imagine death as a quiet slipping into darkness, like blowing out a candle. But that's not how it happened for me. My ending, my first ending, came like the cracking of glass under too much pressure. I remember the road clearly. It was raining hard, the kind of rain that makes the world blur behind your windshield. I had left work late, exhausted, my mind circling around my mother's voice messages and the preparations for the weekend. Nothing unusual, nothing ominous, nothing dramatic, just life, as it always had been. Then the truck appeared, a large cargo truck swerving too fast on the wet asphalt. I didn't even have time to scream. Metal hit metal. My body jerked, light exploded behind my eyes, then silence. Not peace, just silence. When I opened my eyes again, I was standing outside my car, or what was left of it. The rain was still falling, but I no longer felt it. The paramedics were pulling at my limp body, shouting words that reached me as if underwater. "We're losing her! Her pulse is dropping, quick!" I watched them work. I watched them panic, but I felt nothing. I felt separated from myself, like someone watching a tragedy from behind a veil. Then the world around me began to dim, like someone was slowly turning down the lights in a large hall. And then the ground beneath me vanished. I fell, but not downward, not upward. It felt like falling through layers of something heavy, thick, almost alive. Darkness pressed against me like hands. I couldn't breathe. I don't think I have lungs. I don't know how long I fell. Time didn't behave the way we know it. Then suddenly, I wasn't falling anymore. I was standing in a place that felt wrong. The air trembled, vibrating like a swarm of insects. A deep red glow pulsed beneath my feet, as though the ground itself was lit by buried fire. The smell, God, the smell, was of smoke, rot, and something metallic, like burning blood. I wanted to run, but my legs were frozen. Voices rose around me, thousands, no, millions, crying, wailing, screaming, some angry, some terrified, some broken beyond recognition. The sound echoed in waves, pressing on my chest until I thought I would shatter. Then I heard a voice I knew, a voice that cracked my soul open. "Zainab." It was Rahman. I spun around, my heart, or whatever passed for it there, stopped. He was there, standing, or trying to, amid flames that curled around him like living chains. His clothes were in tatters, burned through in places. His skin, I can still see it, blistered, darkened, torn open by heat. But his eyes were the worst part. They still looked like my brother's, desperate, begging. I screamed his name. I tried to run to him, but something invisible yanked me back like a hook in my spine. I fell to my knees, trembling. "Rahman, please, what is this? Why are you here? You, of all people, why?" He reached toward me with shaking hands, his voice filled with agony. "Little sister, you must listen. I don't have much time." I shook my head, sobbing. No, this cannot be. You were righteous. You were devoted. You taught people. You led prayers. Zainab, he said, his voice breaking into a scream as flames climbed his back. I was blind. I thought I knew God. I thought I could earn heaven by my own deeds. I led people by teachings I myself didn't fully understand. What I preached was not the truth. I stared at him in horror as he continued. "Listen to me, please. Don't follow the path I followed. It leads here. All my knowledge, all my pride, all my certainty, it brought me to this fire." I shook violently. The ground shook with us. "Rahman, please, how do I help you? How do I get you out?" He cried. I had never seen him cry even once in life. "You can't help me, Zainab. My time is done, but yours is not. You must warn. You must tell." A roar shook the place. A scream. Not his, but something larger, deeper, ancient. Rahman clutched his head in agony as flames surged higher. "Hurry," he cried, "before they pull me back. Zainab, listen!" The fire rose like a storm, swallowing half his body. He screamed, his voice tearing like fabric. "Zainab, don't trust what deceived me. Don't trust." His words were drowned by a violent burst of flame. I reached out, screaming his name, but a force slammed into me from behind. The world twisted, shattered, and I was thrown backwards into blinding light. The next thing I knew, I was gasping on a hospital bed, a doctor's voice shouting, "She's back! She's breathing!" But I wasn't the same. I didn't return with peace. I returned with fire inside my chest, and the memory of my brother's screams burned into my soul. And that was just the beginning of my journey. When I woke up in the hospital, the ceiling lights above me felt too bright, almost painful. My breathing came fast, shallow, like I was still choking on the smoke of that place. Nurses were huddled around me, whispering prayers of relief. My mother was crying at the foot of the bed, clutching the edge so tightly her knuckles turned white. But the first thing I did was search the room for Rahman. Even though I knew, somewhere inside me, that he wasn't there, my mother rushed toward me, pulling me into her arms. Her tears soaked into my hair as she whispered over and over, "Zainab, you came back! My daughter, my daughter!" But her warmth, her words, her relief, they all felt distant, numb. I had left a part of myself in that other place, and it was calling to me like a haunting echo. The doctor said my heart had stopped for 7 minutes. 7 minutes! But what I experienced felt like hours, maybe days. My family moved in and out of the room all night, but I barely spoke. Not because I didn't want to, but because every time I opened my mouth, I felt the scream I had swallowed in that burning realm trying to claw its way out. By morning, I could no longer hold it in. "Where is Rahman?" I asked. My mother looked up, confused. "At the masjid, teaching the boys. Where else?" Her answer felt like a knife twisting inside my ribs. He was alive, breathing, walking, teaching, yet I had seen him burning. The doctors told me that near-death hallucinations could be vivid. They insisted that trauma, oxygen deprivation, and fear could paint nightmares that felt real. They had explanations for everything. But none of them had heard my brother's voice. None of them had smelled the burning flesh. None of them had seen the way he reached for me, torn between hope and torment. I tried to convince myself it had been a hallucination. My mind fought desperately to rationalize it. I wanted to forget, to bury it, to erase it like a bad dream. But night brought no mercy. Whenever I closed my eyes, I'd see his blistered skin. I'd hear that ancient roar in the background. I'd see him reaching for me through flames that crawled up his body. And every time his voice echoed, "Warn them. Warn them before it is too late." On the third night after my accident, I forced myself to do the impossible. I went to see him. It was just before Isha prayer. The masjid courtyard was dimly lit, with shadows stretching across the marble tiles. Men walked in with quiet steps, greeting each other softly. I stood outside, my legs trembling so badly I had to grip the fence. When he finally stepped out after the prayer, my breath caught. He looked exactly like my brother always had. Calm, composed, eyes gentle, beard trimmed nicely. He was alive, untouched, the complete opposite of the screaming figure I had seen in that realm. But when his eyes met mine, something inside me collapsed. "Zainab, are you all right? Why are you standing like this? You look pale." I stared at him without answering, because I suddenly realized I wasn't just afraid of the place I had visited. I was afraid of him. He reached to place a comforting hand on my shoulder, and I flinched so violently that people nearby turned to look. Rahman frowned. "Sister, what happened to you? Tell me." I shook my head. "Not here." He guided me to a quiet corner outside the masjid. The night air was cold, but sweat was dripping down my back. "What is it?" he asked softly. I opened my mouth to speak, but the words tangled into knots. How do you tell your beloved brother? I saw you burning. I saw you screaming. I saw you begging me to save myself from your fate. He waited patiently, concern deepening on his face. Finally, I forced the words out. Rahman, I died 3 nights ago. He nodded slowly. Yes, we heard. Mother cried all day when they told you heart stopped. I saw something, I whispered. I saw a place, a terrible place, and I saw you there. He stiffened. Me? His voice was barely audible. I swallowed, my throat burning. You were in fire. You were screaming. You told me you were punished. You warned me. For a moment he didn't move, didn't breathe. His eyes stayed locked on mine, and I felt something shift behind them. A shadow, a fear. I had never seen him. Then he exhaled shakily and forced a small smile. Zainab, what you saw was a nightmare. You were injured, unconscious, frightened. The brain mixes memories and fear. After that night, the night my brother stood outside my door whispering for me to forget, I knew nothing about my life would ever be normal again. I spent the next morning trembling through every movement, my hands shaking so badly that I spilled tea twice. My mother kept asking what was wrong, but I couldn't bring myself to answer. How do you tell your mother that the son she admires, the son she brags about to everyone, had appeared in fire during your near-death experience? How do you break a mother's heart when yours is already breaking? By afternoon, I made a decision that terrified me. I had to know the truth, not from dreams, not from symbols, not from fear, but from my brother himself, because deep down I knew there was something he wasn't saying, something he was hiding, something he feared would destroy everything. I waited until he returned from the masjid, just before sunset. He walked into the house with the same calm dignity he always had, but I could see it now. Something under the surface, cracking, trembling. Rahman, I said, blocking his path. We need to talk. He sighed, rubbing his forehead. Zainab, please, I told you, let it go. No, I said firmly, surprising even myself. Not until you tell me why you're afraid. His eyes snapped to mine, and for a moment I saw anger, or maybe panic. Afraid? Of what? He said. Of what I saw, I answered. Of what you told me in that place. He froze. A long silence stretched between us, thick like smoke. Finally, he said, "Meet me tonight, after everyone sleeps." Those words were both a relief and a new source of terror. That night, I sat awake in my room, staring at the ceiling while the clocks ticked slower than ever. Every little sound in the house sharpened my nerves. Midnight came, then 1, then 2. Then, at exactly 2:17 a.m., I heard the soft knock on my door. I opened it. Rahman stood there, his face pale, his eyes hollow. "Come," he whispered. We walked to the old storage room at the back of the house, the one we hadn't used since we were children. Dust floated in the thin beam of moonlight coming through the small window. He shut the door behind us and leaned his head against it, breathing heavily. I had never seen him like this. "Rahman," I whispered, "what's happening to you?" He sat down on an old wooden chest and covered his face with both hands. When he finally looked up, his eyes were wet, just as they had been in that burning place. "Zainab, I've been having dreams." My heart almost stopped. "Dreams?" I repeated. He nodded shakily. "For the last 5 years." I stared at him, stunned. "You never told anyone?" I asked. "How could I?" he whispered. I'm supposed to guide people. I'm supposed to lead. But every night something pulls me down into a place I don't understand, a place filled with fire, with screams. And every time I'm there, burning, begging, trapped. My blood went cold. He continued, voice cracking. I thought it was my own fear or stress or exhaustion. I tried to pray it away, fast it away, preach it away, but it became stronger, more vivid, more real. He looked at me desperately, and then you saw it too. A tremor ran down my spine. He gripped my wrists with shaking hands. Zainab, what you think you saw is not real. But you're the one who told me to forget, I whispered. If it wasn't real, why tell me that? He froze. A long silence stretched between us, thick like smoke. Finally, he said, "There is more. Something I've never told anyone, not even our parents." My stomach tightened. He swallowed hard, then said, "I once had a dream where a voice asked me why I preached with certainty when inside I had doubts I could never speak aloud. Doubts about things I taught, doubts about whether I understood the truth as well as everyone believed." I felt my chest tighten. He rubbed his shaking forehead. I kept teaching anyway because people trusted me, because I didn't want to fail them or disappoint our father or lose the respect I gained. But the dreams felt like warnings. And the night you died, Zainab, I woke up screaming because I saw you beside me in that fire. My breath froze in my lungs. He reached for me, calling my name, and I couldn't reach you. Tears spilled down my face before I could stop them. Everything inside me twisted painfully. "Rahman, why didn't you tell me?" He smiled painfully. "How do you tell your little sister that her brother lives with a secret fear that eats him alive?" The room felt like it was shrinking, the walls pushing closer. He wiped his eyes, then said, "When you returned and said you saw me there, I knew it was not a coincidence. It was a message." I shivered violently. "What kind of message?" I whispered. He shook his head slowly. "I don't know, but I'm terrified of what it means. Terrified that my life, everything I built, might be built on something I misunderstood." He breathed in deeply, his voice shaking. "And terrified that if I don't find the truth..." He paused, looking at the floor, as though he feared it. "That place might claim me when I die." His fear sank into me like a blade. We sat there until the dawn call to prayer echoed through the neighborhood, the sound drifting through the thin walls like a reminder of the life we were supposed to return to, a life that now felt strange, fragile, uncertain. Rahman stood slowly and said, "I don't know what lies at the end of our lives, Zainab, but whatever you saw, whatever I've been seeing, it means we must search, not blindly follow, not pretend to know." He placed a trembling hand on my shoulder. "Find the truth, whatever it is, even if it destroys everything we've known." A chill raced over my skin, because those were the last words he ever said to me before the world around us changed again. That very afternoon, Rahman collapsed while teaching his students. By the time I reached the hospital, they told me he hadn't survived the cardiac arrest. And as I stood by his lifeless body, memories of his screams from that burning place crashed over me like a wave. I realized that his final plea, his final warning, his final fear was now mine to carry. And that was the beginning of the path I never chose, but one I could no longer escape.